I'm gonna hide this recording when I'm finished. If I don't make it, at least there'll be some kind of a record. I traveled through a portal, exploring and learning about this unknown world. One of my discoveries was a terrible, terrible game. One other thing, I think that they're actually trying to remaster the game 20 years later. I replayed the original game, and it was just as bad as I remembered. Right now, I'm really tired. There's nothing else I can do, just review. MasterCode, Ace Analyst, Captain of the Mjolnir, super sexy handsome fellow, signing off.
For those of you who don't know, John Carpenter's The Thing is my favorite horror movie of all time. The story in Alien is absolutely terrifying. The music is masterfully scored to fill you with dread and utilize practical effects that were years ahead of its time. I was utterly shocked to see that there was a game based on the movie. Now, I hadn't seen any marketing or any trailers for it, but of course, because I was such a huge fan of the movie, I bought it without even thinking. And boy, did I regret my decision. There are so many problems with this game, it's hard to know where to start. So the game is set shortly after the events of the movie. Remember this because this will come back later. Anyway, we play as US Special Forces Captain Blake, who has been sent in to investigate Outpost 31, which by this point is, well, I'll let Blake describe it.
Well, your transmitter's down and everything else is foobar.
So at first, I'm kind of excited, getting to tour through the base, seeing the various rooms and locations, hearing MacReady's recording.
If none of us make it, at least there'll be some kind of a record. The storm's been hitting us pretty hard now for 48 hours. We still have nothing to go on.
And of course, seeing the remains of the spaceship and... wait, what? How the hell did that remain so intact? That should be nothing but a pile of scrap! In the movie, they threw a full bundle of dynamite into the tunnel, and it made a massive explosion. And yet, it almost looks as intact as when MacReady and the others first found it. It doesn't make sense. And get used to that sentiment as we delve further into the game. The game, came out in 2002. And even for the time, many of the animations and graphics just look muddy or just absolutely terrible. Environmental-wise, there's not much to discuss. The first two locations where you visit Outpost 31 and the Norwegian base are the only notable areas. Otherwise, it's nothing but snow and gray corridors for the majority of the time. Every once in a while, you'll enter an interesting area like some of the high-tech science labs, but that's few and far in between. The controls are not the worst for a shooter, but the default movement is turret controls, wherein the left stick controls the majority of your movements, and you have to rotate left or right until you find the direction you want, and then you can move forwards or backwards. Meanwhile, the right stick is mostly just used for strafing and zooming in. And it doesn't sound as annoying at first, but if I'm being chased by some mother humper and/or I need to navigate a weird hallway, I'm going to need precise controls. Otherwise, I need to do this weird dance involving a combination of strafing and moving backwards and forwards to run to my location. As for the overall gameplay, even using a slightly better control scheme, it still feels clunky. Other than the shotgun, all the weapons don't feel impactful and sound like pea shooters. And every encounter feels the same with little to no change in strategy. Run around, shoot, that's it. You set the thing on fire, it runs away. It charges, you set it on fire, it runs away, then charges, and finally dies.
He thinks he's so great. I'ma show him. Alright, he won't see me coming from. Oh, I saw it coming! Fine. I'll wait down here and catch him off guard.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, hey, I'm just waiting for that green jerk so I can surprise him.
Neat.
Yeah, he'll never see it come. Oh.
Being in closed corridors, for the most part, you really can't take advantage of your environment, except for the occasional flammable barrel. But rarely do I ever strategize my encounter, and for the most part, I can just rush the enemy. And it doesn't matter what difficulty you're on, the AI still feels just as unpolished. Okay, so let's talk about the enemies. Remember in the movie how versatile the thing was?
If a small particle of this thing is enough to take over an entire organism.
So with all the different forms of the thing we saw in the movie, there's so many different possibilities for various enemy types you could fight in the game that couldn't be done in the movie. Like wall crawlers, 10-foot abominations, crazy weird tentacle creatures, or even creatures that can somewhat temporarily fly. Do you know how many different creatures you can fight in this game? 4! fucking 4!
It's a crock of shit.
Yeah, an alien that can potentially take on any form at once, and yet we only have 4 enemies.
This is bullshit, Mac.
You have the knockoff Half-Life headcrabs called Skullers, which I kid you not, are your main enemy throughout the entire game.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Then you have these Brute Walkers, which are humanoid alien transformed entities. Then there are these fully realized walkers, which are taller, more powerful units that are somehow as fast as the humanoid versions. And finally, you have dog beasts, which are these mutant hybrid dog things, which are also the fastest units of the game, able to charge a player at tremendous speeds. Now, yes, there are some bosses, 4 to be exact, but otherwise it's these 4 different alien types with 2 or 3 different alternate designs. Now I realized at the time it would be impossible to implement 100 different enemies with unique characteristics throughout the game, but still, they couldn't scrounge up like 4 or 5 different more enemy types? As far as weapons go, not much to say. It's your typical loadout of shotguns, pistols, machine guns, and even a sniper rifle, which is pretty much useless until the second half of the game. Again, due to being in close quarters 90% of the game. There's also a stun gun, but it's something you'll rarely ever use except for the rare occurrence where you need to coerce a team member to give you their gun.
Why are you such a prick?
Although surprisingly, there are a decent variety of grenades, from standard to flame, stun, and high explosive. All of which you can fire out of your grenade launcher. Yeah, take that. Bombs away, bitch. But of course, there's only one way to completely destroy the bigger enemies, and that's with the flamethrower.
Mac wants the flamethrower. Mac wants the what?
And I will admit, it is rather satisfying burning these things. Yeah, burn, bitch, burn! There's also a blowtorch, but it sucks because it's extremely short range, as in literally the fire goes maybe a foot in front of you, and you'll usually just end up burning yourself. Yeah, you could create a wall of fire to protect yourself to buy some time, but otherwise, I barely ever used it. The game's save system involves these data terminals that look like tape recorders from the movie, and they are fairly plentiful in the first half of the game, but in the second half, it is absolutely merciless. There are some levels where you don't get a save until the latter half or towards the end of the level, and by then you've been collecting keys, items, weapons, and whatnot, only to suddenly die, and you have to restart that whole level all over again. This level in particular, I had to restart at least 4 times because my engineer kept dying and I had to restart over and over, making it a frustrating ordeal. As far as the UI goes, it's actually decent. Your weapons and items are viewed in a radial wheel, and it's relatively easy to scroll through everything, and you can not only equip items, but you can also use them as well in the menu, making it handy to fix yourself while low on health in a battle. You can also quickly switch between items using the D-pad with left or right, or up and down for weapons. The other menu you'll use most often is the squad command screen, and yeah, this game is actually a squad shooter. And while I applaud the implementation, you really won't use most of the commands. For the most part, you'll just use the follow or stay here command, or giving your team members weapons and ammo. That's pretty much it. You can command certain characters to do special actions, like with the engineer and fix junction boxes, but again, when your character has already seen the box, typically you can just instruct your nearby engineer to fix it by just acknowledging the icon over his head. So you can either flip through 3 menus to tell him to go fix a junction box, or just walk up to him and press the interact button. Now let's talk about your different classes of squad members. I already mentioned the engineer, who you need to keep alive, medics who offer infinite healing, and the soldier, who,
I'm locked, loaded, and ready to make shit dead.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
The soldiers are supposedly better at shooting and ammo conservation, but I didn't really notice much of a difference between the different classes. Medics are free health stations, but engineers are the bane of my existence, as literally they're only useful for fixing advanced junction boxes. And the annoying part is, if your engineer dies and there happens to be an advanced junction box on this level, because Blake can't fix those, it's an automatic game over. Any other class can die and you can continue to play, but the engineer dies, you're fucked. Which artificially forces the player to give the engineer the better weapon so he can survive, and you end up giving the soldier whatever you have left, like the pistol. And most of the time, I'm not on edge because of the scary monsters, but because I don't want to start a level or save over again because the most annoying class dies. It just takes you completely out of the game. And since I brought it up, let's talk about junction boxes. No, that bit's been done. So there's basic and advanced boxes. The basic ones you can fix yourself, but as I said, you need the engineer to fix the advanced ones. And these things are just so annoying because you encounter these boxes throughout the entire game and they're just a waste of time to pad things out. They're used to power up various devices or areas like opening doors or turning on lights or computers. Fine, but if you already created the engineer class, why waste my time with the basic boxes? If they were more intuitive, like turning into an actual minigame where you can redirect power or remove broken fuses or even flip appropriate switches, that could be interesting. But no, instead, all you do is hold down a button for 6 seconds and it's fixed. Hooray! And how the hell did all these boxes break and explode all at once? Was there just some asshole going around destroying these for fun? Maybe, but you know what's not fun? This. The junction boxes are tedious, boring, and an annoying gameplay mechanic that just grinds the game to a halt every time you see one. By the way, I love how both you and the engineer can fix these boxes while wearing gloves. I wish I could fix things without tools and gloves on. Let's go back to talking about the squad command interface, more specifically the Fear Trust system, which on paper sounds like a rather innovative system, but in actual implementation, it's not as deep as it sounds. The Fear system represents how scared your overall squad is. If they hear or see enemies, or you go into a bloody or terrifying place, it increases via a pi meter that appears over their heads. Fear is also indicated by your character's facial expressions and actions. When everything is calm, they look back and forth, but the more terrified they are, the more frantic they look, which eventually, when they are 100% scared, they'll either just run around, shoot randomly, or even shoot you by accident. Along with shooting at the dark, your squad members will constantly remark on the dead bodies they pass by.
Man, looks like last night's dinner.
That is an ugly mother.
Looks just like your last girlfriend.
Now that's fucked up.
Sometimes they'll puke.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
And look at this, they'll even pee themselves. Gross. And in an extremely rare instance, characters can run up to fuse boxes and electrocute themselves to death. Awesome. You can give your squad mate an adrenaline shot, which will temporarily alleviate their fear, but it really just comes down to don't take your squad mates into bad, scary places, which again diminishes the overall impact of the mechanic. Then we have the trust system.
Trust's a tough thing to come by these days.
Typically, when you encounter a new character, they won't trust you.
No way. Yes, sir. I don't trust you.
Fair enough. Their trust will go up and down depending on your actions. If you don't fight in combat or accidentally shoot your comrades, their trust will go down. And if the meter completely fills up, they'll kill you. Of course, you can completely mitigate the impact of the system by walking up to a soldier and be like, dude, here's a gun! And they'll be like, awesome, you're my new best bro!
No way! I don't trust you!
Which also has a slight effect of reducing fear as well.
You cannot run him away! Yo, Melvin!
This will make him think twice.
For the most part, your squad AI is at least passable, but there are many instances you cannot get them to go where you want them to go. You have to do this weird dance where you have to go tell them to stay and manually push them, which is more difficult than it looks, or go back and forth out a door hoping that'll finally wrangle them in. And sometimes they'll just get stuck on random objects and you have to get them out of their rut. What the hell are you guys looking at? It's a fence, you idiots! What, do you see something interesting? What, is that air vent that interesting? Is there something delicious on it?
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Check out this scene. This perfectly encapsulates the terrible AI of the game. You got this guy who's running back and forth like an idiot. What the hell are you doing? Hey, dude! And of course, you have the dumb Arctic soldiers who have their guns trained on you, and yet they just watch an amusement. Or maybe they just feel sorry for me. All right, man, the enemy is upon us. Ready? Aim! Keep aiming. Don't fire just yet. Make sure your safety's off. Make sure your cell phones are off. Don't want your cell phones going off in war. Get ready. Here we go. Ready? Keep readying. And... hey, that's cheating. That's our turn. Quick, man, return fire. Bullshit, I call hacks.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
The next mechanic is the exposure system.
Oh, this cold is killing me.
Simply enough, a blue meter will appear when you're exposed to the elements, and if it reaches 0, you'll start to lose health and eventually die. And it's pretty much the only system that works as it should. Which at last brings us to the most broken and disappointing element of the entire game, the blood test kit. In the movie, the blood test scene was the most iconic and tense sequence in the whole movie. The audience is unaware of how many are actually infected, and it slowly builds up to the big reveal and So I was actually pretty excited to see these blood test kits in action, constantly checking whether or not one or more of your teammates is infected, always looking over your shoulder, and overall it's just a great idea, a great mechanic to carry over from the movie. Only one problem. It's fucking broken! One of the coolest sounding systems of the whole game is an absolute joke. Basically, the way it works is there are these things called blood test hypo kits that you can collect. You can administer the test to anyone at any time, even yourself.
Now I'm gonna show you what I already know.
Man, I hate this job.
Through various science and whatnot, it mixes the blood with some kind of heating agent, and if the person is infected, it basically explodes.
Like fire!
Now, look at this device. Remember, this is shortly after the events of the film, which was 1982. Such a device to perform such actions seems like modern day or even somewhat futuristic. Not something you would find in this time period. Yet you can find multiple test kits throughout your journey. This text says that the US Special Forces sent in for this rescue mission were the ones who brought these gadgets along. If that's true, why? And I mean, this is before they figure out there's a shape-shifting alien menace running around. So why are these things here? Who made these? Maybe you could argue they're just checking for general infection, but still, it doesn't make sense. But okay, I can let that go. But what I can't let go is that these blood test kits don't matter. Why? Because all the NPC's transformations are scripted. That's right, characters are programmed to transform at certain times or when you pass certain zones. So check this out. I test this guy, nothing. I cross the threshold. Son of a bitch! Or here, I know this guy is supposed to transform when I reach the tunnel. I check him out, good. A few seconds later, bam!
Cheating bitch.
Now, there are some NPCs you can actually save from transforming, but you basically can't let them get hit by any entities at all, which is almost impossible either due to the speed of the enemies or the squad AI derping. And funny enough, it is actually possible to glitch the game and have people in your squad who are supposed to turn immediately upon seeing them. Like once I cross a certain threshold, this guy automatically will turn. But if you're quick enough to give him a gun before he turns, he will follow you and not transform the rest of the level. Either way, you took one of the coolest aspects of the movie and completely squandered its potential. So, gameplay is repetitive, running down the same corridors all the time. Several mechanics are either disappointing or completely broken. Lack of enemy variety. What's left? The story? Yeah, I haven't even talked about that yet. This is where the game goes completely off the rails. Here we go. Oh, spoilers. So while investigating Outpost 31, you find the body of Childs with McCready nowhere in sight. Hearing partial transmissions from the team at the Norwegian base, Blake Cowboys out to go rescue them, and he gets his first-hand experiences with the alien. From here, you basically jump from one bland set piece to another, attempting to escape this Arctic hell. Eventually, we encounter our first boss, whose audio always glitches. Ow, what the? Yeah, the boss is unfairly programmed and immediately starts attacking you during the transition from the cutscene, so you better move, or you're gonna get hit. But of course, because this game is so broken, you can literally just sit in the corner and he will not do a thing. I'm serious, all it does is just randomly flail around, and otherwise you could just sit there and you could just completely wail on it.
Whoa, where'd you go? Hey, come on now. I dropped my contact lenses. Come on, I can't see you. My vision is absolute shit, all right? Come on now, this isn't fair. Come on. Ow, ow, hey, stop shooting me. Ow, hey, come on now. This isn't fair. This is cheating. Ow, ow, hey. Jerk.
And that's not even the last broken boss. After killing the abomination, we then locate a mysterious hatch. I joke, but that's actually not too far off. Blake suddenly enters a secret underground Black Labs facility that has been testing the regenerative abilities of the alien.
What?
And to make things even more surreal, the facility is headed by a Dr. Faraday, who is actually voiced by John Carpenter.
I don't think we've got time for formal introductions. Can you get us out of here?
Oh, then it gets even more crazy when you're captured by Blake's superior, Colonel Whitley, who is voiced by the cigarette-smoking man from X-Files.
Do you have any idea what's going on out there?
I have a perfect idea.
Jesus, you've done it, haven't you?
There's so much I have to show you. The aliens insisted on it.
And it turns out he is planning to use the Thing infection, which he refers to as the cloud virus, and infect the entire planet!
The infection is spread across the base. All of the organisms have to be destroyed. If it reaches the mainland, there's no stopping it.
A new race, Agent Mulder. An alien-human hybrid who could survive the Holocaust.
Okay, where does one even begin? Once again, this game takes place shortly after the events of the movie. Let's be extremely fair and say it's been about 6 months, making it late spring to early summer 1983. And yet, within a few months of Outpost 31 being destroyed, somehow Colonel Whitley and Dr. Faraday discover about the Thing, which is impossible seeing as McCready killed the last remaining alien that came from the Norwegian outpost, unless the game is saying that there was just some other thing that originally escaped, either from the outpost or the Norwegian base, or maybe even the UFO. Either way, the two somehow discover about this alien life form, capture it, and decide to build multiple advanced secret underwater research labs to study it. And they do this all within a matter of a few months.
This is getting stupid!
Wow, that is a lot to buy, game. That is a lot to buy. This is unbelievable. And why does Whitley want to infect the entire world? We never ever get an inkling to why he wants to do this. We also find out that he himself at some point injected himself with the cloud virus.
I'm living proof that the infection can be controlled.
No, that's not possible.
I will be remembered as the first successful test subject.
No, not if I can help it.
I'll stop you by turning my back on you, and thus you'll feel really guilty and want to stop all this and... I did not see that coming. I mean, the guy's seen all the different test subjects and how they failed, and yet wants to not only infect himself, but also perform global infection. I guess you could argue that the Thing has been in control of him ever since he first injected himself, and just hid that fact from whatever remained of Whitley. In the movie, it was never confirmed whether or not people in the movie who were infected actually knew they were infected. But even still, why wouldn't the alien or even Whitley choose to infect Dr. Faraday a long time ago so that they could keep them under their control? Also, while Blake is unconscious at this Gen Inc. facility, the duo perform tests on him and they discover that he has somehow developed a resistance to the virus. How? He's like Ellie from The Last of Us. Again, no explanation for this. So the rest of the game is basically escaping the facility all the while killing aliens and Whitley's men. Oh yeah, Whitley's special forces are a joke. I mean, look at this.
Come out so I can kill you.
Buddy, let me out of here. Come on. Ow, don't shoot me. I just want to... Sir, he's shooting at us. What should we do? I don't know. Maybe he'll get scared of our running. Curses, he's not scared of our running. What do we do? Let's just run this way and run away. Run away.
Sound the alarms. Target.
Wow. Either these guys are the most incompetent soldiers of all time, or their AI and pathing absolutely sucks. You make the call. We also face a couple more bosses. This one is particularly challenging at face value, but then you realize you can just cheese this boss by lobbing grenades, shocking it, and killing it with a flamethrower.
Hey, ow! Ow! Hey, I see you over there. Ow! Hey, stop lobbing grenades over here. Hey, ow! Come on, this isn't fair. I'm rooted to the ground here. Come on, ow! Come on, stop it. Come on, play fair. Come on! Oh! This is bullshit.
Another lame boss. Eventually, you'll come across the third boss, which is this tentacle hentai thing that strikes at you from the ceiling. This time you have no cover, and a stray shot could unleash the encased Brewwalker, creating a very, very precarious situation for yourself. But once again, you can completely just dominate this monster by standing directly underneath it.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, did you, see the football game? Yeah, that football game was great, wasn't it? Yeah, hey, how's it going? Oh, come on, don't touch me. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, please, come on. Come on, that's not fair. Come on. Oh.
Who the hell tested this game? This is ridiculous. I should not be able to just blow by a battle like that. Every single boss in this game is either completely broken or disappointing. This game is so poorly programmed, I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually developed by a fucking alien. What else doesn't make sense? Oh yeah! Wait, what the? Why was there a thing behind that solid wall? It doesn't go anywhere. How did it get back there?
Jesus, help me.
Oh, jeez, what now?
Check out that terminal. I can't figure it out, but maybe it'll make sense to you.
Would I lie?
What the? Why is this room rigged with a gas trap? What purpose does this serve?
What the fuck just happened?
Let's move on, we're almost done. Anyway, the rest of the game is just escaping, preventing global infection, and of course, kill Whitley.
Game over, Whitley.
I don't think so.
Blake, you fool! You're trying to kill a cigarette-smoking man with fire! You've only made him stronger! The dude smokes like a chimney! Now he's gonna turn stupid Saiyan!
Your pathetic sabotage of the consignment at the airstrip only delayed the inevitable.
Colonization is going to begin. A state of emergency will be declared because of a massive outbreak of the alien virus, and the takeover will begin.
Now he's really getting huge! Uh-oh!
So it looks like we're totally screwed until a helpful helicopter pilot swoops in to help.
He's dead! The end!
And this is by far the easiest boss battle in the entire game. All you have to do is just shoot these exploding barrels that for some reason constantly spew fire, and even more coincidentally, they're all aimed directly at the thing. And then occasionally you have to attack this dangly pink tentacle thingy for massive damage. Once again, there's no challenge, and I feel like I've barely done anything. What a way to end the game. So we kill the monster, and we discover who our friendly pilot was.
McCready.
What? You're telling me McCready has survived for months, braving the freezing temperatures of Antarctica and avoiding both the aliens and Whitley's detection? What's he been eating and drinking? Where's he been taking shelter? How the hell did he get that chopper?
It just raises too many questions.
You just can't throw bullshit at me like that and expect me to accept it. Oh my god. Okay, we're done. That was The Thing, the video game. What a waste of time. Now too, it's not one of the worst games ever made, but you have uninspired, boring gameplay with muddy graphics, lack of enemy variety, poor enemy AI, with lots of mechanics that are either half-finished or completely broken. Combined with an absolutely insane nonsensical story, makes this an unfun, tedious experience that sullies the original movie. But thankfully, it's all over. Although, I still have to wait for the portal to reopen again to get me out of this hellhole. What else could go wrong? Yeah, fuck you too!